A couple episodes ago, it was episode 36, and that's one of my favorite episodes I've ever created. I poured in for a podcast launch. If you have not yet launched your podcast, I highly recommend you go over to episode number 36 and check out the exact detailed step-by-step launch plan that I gave you that guarantees that you get into top 10% or higher of all podcasts globally. On that podcast, we brought up something. It was called a CTA. We talked a little bit about what is a CTA. Well, this is a call to action. So, episode 38 today is pitfall number 7. And that's because people literally neglect having a call to action. They have a podcast, but they don't have a call to action. So I want to dive in with you and share with you what can go wrong if you don't have a call to action, how your podcast listeners feel with a call to action, and then what to do in a call to action. Let's dive in.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
All right. Thank you for being here. So I mentioned earlier that we're really going to answer 3 things about call to action. What can go wrong with call to actions if you do them, if you don't do them? What can go wrong? What can happen? Dive a little bit into the listener. Like, what are they thinking? What are they thinking when they're listening to you each and every episode? And what are they thinking, like, deep down when you call them to action on the pros and the cons? And then the third thing is, how to have a more effective call to action. So let's dive into those right now. And the first one is just talking a little bit about what can go wrong. And there's a couple things that I think can go wrong. Number one, if you don't call your listener to action, you could literally just be losing money. You're just leaving a bunch of your money that basically belongs to you and feeding your kids and going on that vacation you've always wanted. You're leaving that money up for grabs for somebody else because you're not doing a call to action. So that's one thing that can happen. But what about on the listener side? Well, if you don't call them to action by having them do something, then they're never going to do something. And you're doing them a disservice. So you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to hurt my listeners' feelings. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to seem like a sellout. I felt all that stuff before myself as well. And so you're thinking, I'm not even going to have any calls to action. I'm never going to ask my listener to do shit. So, excuse the French. I'm never going to ask my listener to do anything because I'm afraid to give them a call to action. Well, you're doing them a disservice. So on that, I want to talk a little bit about what are the listeners thinking as they are here with your podcast. And let's identify the pros and cons of what they might be thinking, and to help illustrate the first point about those 2 things that could go wrong. You not making enough money and them not actually doing what they need to do to go to the next step for themselves. It's not a selfish thing to call people to action. So what are your listeners thinking? Here they are. They've been listening to you for a while. Okay. They enjoy you. They come to your podcast for a reason. They prefer your podcast among all other podcasts in your genre. They come day in and day out. They binge listen to several episodes at a time. They enjoy you. They respect you. You have solved that one thing about now you are a thought leader. And so what they're thinking is, this person is awesome. I'm glad that he or she is putting out another episode. That's what they're thinking. And as you give them value, as you give them tangible tips of what they can do to go to the next level in your genre, and they're like writing these things down, And if you don't have a call to action, guess what? They feel deflated. They're like, huh. They want you to give them a plan. They want you to give them a next steps. That's what they're looking for. And if you don't give it to them, they're like, huh, I just feel like I'm missing something from this podcast. So when you call them to action and you can support their growth, if you want to X, Y, Z, then I want you to go do 1, 2, 3. If you want this result, then the next thing you need to do is go and do this. Hey, after listening to this episode, I challenge you to do XYZ. Now, what is your listener thinking? Oh, awesome. All right, I accept that challenge. I'm going to do it. Or maybe you have an episode where you're talking a little bit about, yeah, I serve people like you and I support them and I want to get them to the next level. And then you just end it and they're like, oh man, I was going to try to figure out how I could work with you. I thought you were leading up to that. And I just was deflated. I was gone. Like, I don't feel so good anymore because you spent the time telling me what you could do for me, but you never told me how to contact you. And so if you don't give them that call to action, they're going to still feel like, man, I was ready to do this. I was like, take my money, they say. Take my money. I'm ready. And you don't give them a call to action. They're like, oh, that sucks. Well, who can I hire for this? And then you have to go and find somebody else. Now, let's talk a little bit about your pocketbook and what they're thinking on the flip side, because there's pros and cons to everything, right? And some people are going to be like, oh, hell yeah. He just said I could work with him one-on-one for only $6,000. I'm in. Dude, that's perfect. Some of your listeners are going to be like that. And others might be a little bit different. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, is the only reason that they have this podcast so that they can make $6,000 from all of these people. And so you're going to have people on both sides. So let's talk a little bit about the negative. If you have a call to action where you say something like, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have a call to action that is, hey, follow me on social. If you have a call to action like whatever it is, they're probably going to be against it. What I'm saying is that there's two different ways to give a call to action, which is bringing us to the third part of this episode. How do you have an effective call to action? The first thing that I want you to remember is that your listener to your podcast is always thinking, what's in it for me? WIIFM. It's everybody's favorite radio station. It's WII FM radio. What's in it for me? And for them, as they're listening to the podcast, you need to be talking in terms of them. So, for example, you might say, one thing that you should do to get to the next level is XYZ. Another thing that you could do to go to the next level is ABC. And if you want it to be completely done for you, you can work with my team and we can take care of ABC and XYZ so you don't have to. In order to get that value, you just need to go to blah, blah, blah.com/blah, blah, 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 blah. Or you say something to the effect of, wow, we learned so much about XYZ topic today. And I want to give you a challenge. I want to help you get to the next level. So challenge yourself to use this word in your vocabulary over the next coming weeks, or to take this other word out of your vocabulary. Or I challenge you to look up these 3 companies and pick one today. Or I challenge you to look into my company, what we can do for you at growyourshow.com. I challenge you to look into what my team can do for you, what we can offload off of your plate so that you can get this great result without all of the hardship of running your own podcast, for example. So I challenge you to just look into my company, look into my team, and see if it's right for you. See if it's a fit. If it is, awesome. And if it's not, we'll go our separate ways, and that's great. I want to challenge you to at least do that favor for you. So anything that you share as a call to action needs to be WIIFM, call to action, most effective if it's with relation to the listener. If you're saying, please, can you give me some comments and likes and subscribes down below? Oh, I would be honored if you would just do me a favor and just take 2 minutes to just give me an honest rating and review. Those things are more about you than they are about your listener. And they don't want to know what's in it for you. They want to know what's in it for them. WIIFM. So to have an effective call to action, you want to think, what is the listener going through? Ask yourself that question first. Okay, write it down. What is the listener going through? And how can I get them to overcome it? And whatever that organic call to action is, maybe you need to build a PDF. I built a PDF about with all of the mics and green screens and lighting and webcams that you would ever need. All of the podcasting equipment that most people know nothing about. I took some time and I built a PDF with my team and I put it into a place. So anytime we're talking about microphones on the podcast or lighting, and I'm thinking to myself that my listener is feeling confused, like, man, they mentioned like 3 different mics and one of them was bad and I didn't get a good note of it. And I just don't know what to buy. And I know that it's going to hold some of my listeners back from taking action on their podcast. Well, problem solved. I go and create this PDF that has everything in there. Some of the links are affiliate links, so I might even make a couple bucks if you buy something on there, right? Some of the links aren't, and that's just fine. But I created this PDF and I say, this is all you need to do. Go to growyourshow.com/PDF. And that way you can get this great value where I vetted all of these for you. I took the time and effort to make sure that regardless of your budget, you could find webcams and lighting and microphones and sound treatment. So what I'm saying is you don't have to think about all of it. I give you all of the things that I've vetted at all different prices, and they're on a PDF. You go here. Now, granted, if they go and download that PDF, or when you tried to download that PDF, you probably saw that all of the information was there for you. And so you could click on it and you could get value automatically, or you could put in your email address and it would email the PDF directly to you. So you think, oh, I'm already right here. I can just use it, or I can get this to be emailed to me, you're saying. Well, when you do that and you ask it to be emailed to you, it gets emailed to you. And I now have a lead capture. There's like a little checkbox on our website that either says that you want to be on the list or you don't want to be on the list when we give you that PDF. So it'll allow me to build a list of people that say, I want to be on the list. So that's an effective call to action. Another piece that you need to notate about having an effective call to action is whether or not you stand anything to gain. For example, as I mentioned my PDF, I mentioned some of those links on there are affiliate links. Because I believe in all of these products, I tried to become an affiliate for all of them. My listener pays no more to use it. But if I was trying to pretend like I wouldn't make a dime out of it, if I tried to say, oh, yeah, I don't get anything for these, or even if I just omitted that, then it may come around to offend my listener. You might even feel offended if I did that. You might be like, man, Adam didn't tell me that he was getting money if I bought one of these mics or something like that, you know? But if I share straight up ahead, hey, this is one of the ways that I monetize my show. I think it's important to monetize my show. You don't pay a dime more. I took all the time and effort to make this PDF so everything's in one place. Some of those links are affiliate links and some aren't. Then you know exactly where we stand and you probably are not going to feel offended. Okay. With that said, calls to action. We're talking about calls to action today. So I need to leave you with a call to action. And in general, it's better to only leave somebody with one call to action. But I have two for you today, even though that's not the standard. So, call to action number one is, if you haven't checked out the first 6 episodes of this podcast, it's a 101 course on everything you need to do for podcasting. It's free. I don't get your email or anything like that. And you don't have to go to my website or be part of some funnel. It's right here as part of the podcast, the first 6 episodes, a course that you can go to. If you haven't checked it out right now, you have the ability to go and listen to episodes 1 through 6 in order to help you get to the next level with your podcasting journey. And the other call to action that I will give you is, when you give a call to action to your listener, put it in terms of what they need. I'll leave you with that for now. Oh, hey, because 3 of my clients came to me recently looking to find a way to have their podcast make them money instead of cost them money. We put together a resource for some of our clients, and I want to give it to you as well. It's something that did actually seem to help, because one of them is now making $2,600 a month, another one's $4,500 a month, and the third is making between $5,000 and $10,000 each month. And so it's been a resource that's been incredibly valuable to them. It's our sponsor sheet template. It's a template of a sponsor sheet, and it gives you something that you can hand to potential sponsors and hopefully also be making $2,600, $4,500, or between $5,000 and $10,000 regularly each month with your podcast. So this has been a contributing factor to helping all 3 of those clients turn their podcast into an additional income stream for them. And the way that you can find it is just going to our website, growyourshow.com, but put in /templates, growyourshow.com /templates. And then you can actually download that template and others that could be valuable to your podcasting experience. I'll see you on the next episode.